Chapter 44, Pick. They were down in the Griffin's basement, waiting for Goody's clothes to finish in the dryer. A kid next to him on the bus had thrown up on Goody's original outfit, which he'd changed out of and stuffed into a plastic bag, and now it just made sense to clean everything and start from scratch. "I gotta admit," Pick said, "I thought you'd be talking like Yoda, all wise and all. It's a relief." Goody shook his head. "They don't teach you that stuff until you're 50, he told him. "Otherwise, it's just silly." Pick looked at him. It was a Goody thing to say. Whatever had gone on monk-wise, it was still Goody in there. Part of that was reassuring, and part felt like a threat. "He's sick, man," Pick said. "He's really fucking sick." The tips of Goody's hair were still wet from the shower. He was wearing a borrowed bathrobe that Chip had gotten last Christmas from an aunt who clearly didn't know him at all. He looked strong, but not muscular, as if the total amount of strength he had was spread out evenly from head to toe, where he had access to all of it at any time. Solid, yet entirely flexible. "Mary said you were doing some kind of hocus-pocus shit, checking him out. I didn't know you were a doctor, too." "Not a doctor," Goody specified, though the way he said it made Pick think that in some shape or form he probably really was. He'd gotten training, he explained, in a lot of different areas. Little of this and a little of that, he called it, although it sounded to Pick like a lot more than a little, whatever it was. Goody said he'd seen some of his teachers do things you wouldn't believe if you weren't standing right there yourself. Things that can take a whole life to learn. "So what's your diagnosis?" Pick asked. Goody shrugged and looked at him. "He's really fucking sick," he concurred. "Jesus," Pick said. "Yeah." There were footsteps on the ceiling above them, the bend and creak of different floorboards, the kind of sounds people will memorize when they lived in a place long enough. There was lots of crossing this way and that, then people settled in again up there and the house went still. Where for Pick, being still and doing nothing came about as naturally as chewing through aluminum. "So help me out here," he asked. "Okay," Goody agreed. Pick looked over at him. "You go to this place out in Oregon. You write that damn book there. Suddenly it's going to be a movie, so you're down in LA, and then suddenly it isn't, and you're gone. You end up on a mountain in Japan for a couple of years. You travel the world with this guy, and now you're in Delaware teaching meditation to college kids." Pick tried to picture Andy, the future Andy, heading off to college at 5 figures a year so someone like Goody could show him how to sit still and count his breathing. "I'm saying it doesn't add up." "Does it have to add up?" Goody asked. "Yeah," Pick said, "it does. In my world, things have to add up. It's like with accountants. At the end of the day, the column on the left has to match the column on the right. Otherwise, you're fucked." Goody nodded, looking thoughtful, again in a way that both reassured and agitated Pick. "So, let's add things up," he offered. Pick checked to see if the offer was legit. "How'd you get to Delaware?" he asked. "Let's start with that." "Tokyo to Chicago," Goody recalled. "Chicago to Philadelphia, and someone picked me up." "Fuck you," Pick said. "You don't get to be funny yet. I need to know." Goody nodded. "The guy who started the Zen Center at the school was one of Roshi's first students when he came to the States. When he retired, Roshi sent me." "So you went?" Again, Goody nodded. "Can you leave if you want?" "I can. I might." Pick didn't like the sound of that. Having barely absorbed what he'd learned about Goody's current situation, he was also not at all ready for it to turn into something else. Truth be told, he'd been surprised to learn that Goody wasn't up to much grander things with his life. As if by design he was meant for a hell of a lot more than the small potatoes world of a college town. More likely, by a lot, was that Goody was not underachieving, but underreporting, and that running that center was the least of what he was up to. That made much better sense, which made it more unnerving. "Ever think of it yourself?" Goody asked. Leaving the business, he meant. Leaving the law. Or maybe more than that. "Too much at stake," Pick told him. "Too much to unravel." Goody grinned softly. "Too much attach," he said. A phrase he told Pick was a favorite of Roshi's, that his teacher's guiding philosophy was that every care in life could be summed up in those 3 words. There were volumes and volumes of text going back millennia all pretty much saying just that. You just had a big case happen, he said. Did I hear that right? Pick nodded. Fucking surgeon. Gets electrocuted by a peanut butter machine. People came from all over the world to get operated on by this guy. He was the best. He shook his head. The dreadful absurdity, the wrongness of it all. Now he gets to give lectures, or just cash out and buy an island, and buy his own jet to fly there. What he can't do is operate. Peanut butter, Goody said. Can you fucking believe it? Pick confirmed. They looked through the porthole of the dryer, Goody's clothes thrashing in there. Pick had an urge right then to just fuck it all and open up. No editing, just let it spill. To tell Goody how mad at him he was, but also how much he missed him. Damn it, how much it sucked to not have a friend like him anymore. How much it sucked to have had things end so badly, to have had so much time go by. That he was sorry for the shit he did, and that he still thought Goody should be sorry for the shit he did. None of that changed. But Mary was right. He missed him. Bottom line. The dryer buzzed. Pick watched Goody go over and get his clothes out. Watching him fold, Pick heard Carmine's voice inside him, criticizing Goody's technique. You were 90 miles away, man. Goody stopped. Something had been building, and now here it was. I mean, I know, all right? Pick continued. You tried a long time ago, and I didn't take your calls. You were about to splash my life in public again, only in Cinerama this time, and I wasn't feeling all soft and gooey. But for Christ's sake, Goody, you're gone without a word. The last 4 years, you're right down the frickin' Jersey Turnpike, and we don't know it. Alive or dead, we don't know. You know what that's like? I thought it was best to stay out of your way, Goody explained. I thought I owed you that. But you were never out of the way, Pick corrected. Not for a minute. Not knowing where you were made you never out of the way. That was the problem. It was the first time Pick had said out loud that there was a problem. The words like they'd been fired off a battleship. He and Laura had a problem. There it was. Right away he regretted revealing it. Right away. I'll go change now, Goody said. He went over to where a shower curtain had been hung to screen off a small utility bathroom. Pick watched him slip inside and pull the curtain closed behind him.